So again, morning everyone. So I'm filming again. Today I'm at the GP's in Tottenham. I'm at the Laurels GP practice, which is in Tottenham, which is in South Tottenham, just off St Anne's Road, opposite St Anne's Hospital and adjacent to Chestnuts Park. Now I'm still doing the prostate cancer challenge, so this is part of the 26.2 miles that I'm covering. I'm doing it here down at the GP practice, but this is one of the places that I work out of. Okay, and here this is this is the sports therapy treatment room. Over there's got the reception desk there, and here inside here I've got the sports therapy treatment room, which is here where I practice out of. And this is where I do some of my treatment sessions, or where I see some of my sports therapy clients. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I was doing previously, and really kind of fill in from where I left off with the previous conversation that I had before. So where I was talking before, and I was talking about myself and what I do and some of the things that I do. Okay, so where I left off talking about 2006, working at Queen's Park Rangers and progressing on to setting up my own CIC and doing community health projects and getting funding to run small community projects, and also continuing to work in sport. So where I left off 2013, I registered Not Just Football, and was really having an epiphany. One of my colleagues, business partners at the time, we were sitting down having a discussion, and she said to me, "Come on, Rick, man, think, man. You've got, you know, crazy head. You can think and come up with ideas." And we're looking for we're looking for a couple of business names and titles that we're going to use, and some trading names. And I went to bed and I was sleeping, and I woke up in the middle of the night about 1:45. I was saying, "Come on, Rick, man, you've got to come up with a name, a company name, a business name, a catchy name." And I said, you know, it's not all about what we do. It's not all about football. It's about fitness. It's about sports science, sports therapy, sports injuries. It's about working with young people. Hold on. It's not only about football. It's not just about playing football. It's about all the other things around it. Not just about football. Not just football. So I sent her a voice note, and then she rang me about 6:45 in the morning. She says, "Oh, I got your note last night. Not just football, great, catchy name." And it says everything. And it's true, because it's not just about playing football. It's about all the other things associated with football. And then those things are associated within the wider context of sport and physical activity and health. So that's how the name Not Just Football came about. Through that epiphany at night, we're discussing what business, what company name am I going to use. So that's how I come up with the name. And then I started to look into projects and getting funding to do community health related projects. And I've done that alongside working, doing agency and contract work, working in FE colleges, teaching sports science, sports therapy, and I love sports massage. So I ended up becoming a tutor assessor. I'm accredited with Active IQ, and then also accredited with YMCA. Yeah. Now I'm accredited with iTech as well, so to teach sports massage qualification. So alongside that work, I'd managed to also work with the Leighton Orient Foundation, along with a good friend of mine who managed to get me some work, working alongside there. And then he spoke to me about working in football with a non-league club that him and some other colleagues had invested in. Yeah. When they invested in that club, the club was called Woodford Town. I spoke with the committee members and they said to me, listen, come on the journey with us and help us and support us. What is it that you want? I want my own private physio clinic. Okay. So they said, listen, we'll help you with that. And a few years down the road, I managed to get a private clinic space with them. In 2016 also, I met somebody and was offered an opportunity to work with Genesis Fitness, and they were a small training provider running qualifications. They were accredited with YMCA and they were running qualifications. The level 2 gym instructor, level 3 personal trainer, the level 3 GP referral qualification, and also the level 3 sports massage, level 3 sports massage, and they eventually went on to run the level 4 sports massage. So coming into 2020, after some years with that company and some other years doing some other work and also working here in this treatment room, I'd had my sports massage treatment practice here at the GP's at the surgery in Tottenham. I was eventually become head of the education with Genesis Fitness, and I was writing all the educational programs, writing all their syllabuses. I was training staff, I was mentoring and training people once they got qualified to get into work. I was giving people placements at the sports injuries clinic at Woodford for the sports massage students so they could get mentoring, placement experience and working with football players, giving them massages and also other types of treatment. Through the link here with the GP practice, I managed to secure a 3-year commissioning contract with the NHS that was working with over 50s who had arthritis and giving them exercise and education alongside. And one of my students that I mentor, and I still mentor her, I managed to get her some work because she'd done the GP referral qualification with Genesis Fitness, and she worked alongside me here at the Bridge Renewal Trust. So I had that contract going. I had one person that I mentored working with me, and also at the football club, I managed to get a link with the Woodford Harriers Athletics Club, and I started to see their athletes as well who came to me for treatment at the clinic. And the clinic at Woodford, it comprised of a gym, fitness gym with lots of equipment, and I also had 4 treatment rooms. And not only was I seeing the footballers and local people, I was also seeing the athletes from Woodford Harriers Athletics Club as well. And one of those athletes was Mary Yemi John, who is in the GB Great Britain Olympic squad. She was in Paris. She was in the 2024 Olympics, and she won a medal in the 4x4 mixed relay. And she's also got a YouTube channel out as well. She's a fantastic young lady, and she's really destined to be one of the world beaters in the 400 coming into the next few years. So that's that person. Some of the footballers I've worked with as well, and I've also got a podcast with Nathan Smith, who is a young football player that I worked with from the age of when he was 15, and I've worked with him as a sports therapist, helping him with his injuries. And I've also worked with other football players over the years who have come to my clinic, either come here to my treatment room here, or come to my clinic when I was based in Woodford over in East London. So coming into 2020, just before the lockdown, I was in a really advantageous position, and I was really proud and happy with a lot of the work that I was doing going into that period. And I was really looking forward to what's the next move, what's the next way forward, where is the next way to expand, what's the next thing to do. okay? And that's what I was working towards when I was working over at Woodford, working here, and also doing the qualifications with Genesis Fitness. So I was looking to combine all three areas that I'm working in with the mentoring, and the education, and looking what was the next way forward, okay? So just bringing my story up to speed, and I will finish off the rest of my story when I talk a little bit more. Now today, what I want to do is, I want to do the challenge again. So here on this bike, I want to try and okay. So I want to get the challenge, and I want to get on this bike, and I want to do the exercise challenge. So as I said previously, where I don't really like running at all, and I'm much more comfortable in the exercise bike. So I'm going to use this exercise bike here. I'm going to use this exercise bike and do the activities. So again, for me, this is much more up my street, and then it's the advantage of I'm not worrying about the tripod and the light and the filming and getting the angle right and everything, where I can focus a bit more on the actual exercise and the actual how far I'm running. Okay, so as you can see there, the distance is there. Okay, so I'm just gonna cycle, and I'm going to do that. So you're gonna see this a lot, and you'll see it in my RJ Sports Therapies. You'll see that a lot. I use that as one of my training names to do my sports therapy stuff. So you'll see that name around a lot, and I wear a lot of t-shirts and a lot of stuff with RJ Sports Therapies. A lot. So I'm getting on the bike, guys. So you see there, I'm getting on the bike. Yeah. So I've got my distance now. I'm going to start riding. So I'm going to start riding now anyway. Can't actually see the bike. You can see the bike now. You can see me now on the bike. You can see me there on the bike there now. On the bike you can see. So you'll be able to see me now on the bike, actually riding. Okay, so I'm going to start and I'm starting to ride now. So again, this distance is in kilometers. So I know that I done 10.21 kilometers previously. So then that actually worked out to be 6.33 miles. Yeah. So in terms of my calculations, if I do 10.2, I'll cover in 6.33, but then I'm still short the 0.3 miles. So last time I was short 3.3, I was short 20.23 of a mile. I was short. Yeah. So I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do, should I do 11 kilometers? I think 11 kilometers. If I do 12 kilometers, then I should cover everything. Yeah, I should cover the whole distance. But this is going to be a lot more of an easier exercise for me because I'm cycling, so then there's a lot more distance, a lot more speed involved as well. So I can actually cycle and cover more distance, more time, more distance within a certain period of time. Yeah. Because I'm not walking at a walking pace. Alright? Yeah. Yes, I told you a little bit more about myself. Again, I broke it into a second part where I spoke about myself leading up to COVID. I'm going to try and talk a little bit about COVID and changes I've made, and then what kind of led me to the YouTube channel. I'll talk a little bit more about that. I'll save that part of it. I spoke about health inequalities when I was in the I spoke about health inequalities when I was in Edgware in the park, and I was doing the walk/jog. Yeah, talking about that. Now, as I said, I don't want to let anybody off the hook, and I don't want to make it look as if there isn't an opportunity to hold the NHS accountable for some of the things that are happening. Yeah. Now, in Haringey, we've got a bus route called 41, and the NHS and some people working in the NHS have famously done a chart that looks at health inequalities and the distance between where the 41 bus starts, which is in Tottenham Hale, driving through Tottenham, going towards Wood Green, going towards Hornsey Crouch End, and going towards Archway. And the life expectancy of individuals that live in the areas around each bus stop. And there was a 14-year life expectancy gap between people that live in Tottenham side near the 41 bus route and the people that live in Crouch End. And they said that it was the biggest health inequality gap in one catchment area in the whole of Western Europe. Because Haringey Borough is one NHS catchment area. So there should be equal funding, equal health distribution of resources and facilities, and equal distribution of attention and focus. So if Haringey is one single borough with one budget and one catchment area, why is it that people that live in the east of the borough, near the 41 bus stop, that live in the Tottenham area, why is it that those people who live there, why is it that they have a 14-year life expectancy age gap than the people who live in the same catchment area, who are supposed to have access to the same equal amount of resources. Why is it that their life expectancy, they're expected to be 14 years longer than somebody that lives in another area? So that's something that really dismayed me a lot, you know. And then you've got a larger predominantly Caribbean and West African community. You've also got a large East African community as well, that lives in the east of the borough. You have a Jewish community that lives in South Tottenham, and you also have a large Turkish community that lives in the north of Tottenham. When you go to Wood Green, you've got in central Haringey, you've got a larger predominantly Turkish and Greek Cypriot community, Turkish community, Greek Cypriot community, make up a larger percentage of the cohort there. And as you move towards, you do have white Europeans demographic that lives in Tottenham. There's white Europeans everywhere in the UK, it doesn't matter. Or you have a larger proportion of white Europeans that live in Muswell Hill, Crouch End, Alexandra Park, Hornsey region, and you don't have so much of a demographic of people who are, you don't have a large Caribbean community, a large West African community, you don't have a large Turkish Cypriot community once you get to that part of the borough. But this is still the same catchment area, but this is different demographics where people live. So why is it that after you get to there, those people have a 14-year increased life expectancy? Yeah, the average age of somebody's 79 that lives in terms of life expectancy, and then somebody who's living in Tottenham, 54, 55, mid 50s. So why have you got that gap in terms of life expectancy? And then if I look at some of the funerals that I've been to recently, there's been a lot of people. I'm going to 2 funerals. I'm going to 2 funerals this week. Not this, I'm going to 2 funerals. And some of the funerals that I've had in January, some of the fatalities have been inexcusable. So in January, I'm going to the funerals of people who are Tottenham residents, who are not over the age of 60, and they shouldn't really be passing away. It's not something that should be happening. And why should they be passing away at that age? So the life expectancy is quite low, and some of the things in terms of checks, having health checks, having regular visits with GPs and consultants, preventative programs, physical activity programs, self-education. What is happening with regards to those things, those actions, what's happening with them with regards to people who live in the east of the borough? And if it's one borough and it's the same budget, then the people who live in Hornsey and Crouch End should not be getting more resources and more support and help than the people in the east of the borough. And likewise, the people in the east of the borough shouldn't be getting more. There should be an equal distribution. So if you've got a 2-tier system in one community, have we got a 2-tier system in one community? Is what I'm saying not relevant? Is there a is there a lack of knowledge, a lack of support, lack of information? Is there a lack of help, a lack of resources? Is there a lack of awareness? Do the NHS staff apply themselves differently? Are they struggling to make inroads? Are they genuinely trying but not making any progress in the east of the borough, but in the west of the borough they're making significant changes? Or is this all coincidental? Has the research been done? One of the things I do know, and especially we deal with mental health and the east of the borough and St Anne's Hospital, when it comes to mental health interventions, one of the things that I do know for definite is that people in the east of the borough, from the Caribbean community in particular, have a deep mistrust for the mental health services and how they operate and the interventions they provide in St Anne's Hospital, and with the interventions that the staff provide, and with the activities that they provide, and with the things that they do. So with that being said, if they're not accessing, is it that all the interventions are cutting edge, the latest, but we as a community are not accessing it? Or is it that the resources are there, the interventions are there, but the interventions are not fit for purpose and the community don't interact with it? I definitely know that there's an issue with healthcare professionals of a particular background and healthcare professionals who are from the local community not necessarily being able to engage with and relay back to the local community what's happening, what's not happening, what kind of interventions are being used, what kind of things are being done, what kind of practices work, liaising between the family, the individual who's been affected by mental health, and the interventions, the use of medication, all of these things. If you take medication, interventions, communication with the family and liaising with the person affected, there is definitely some challenges there, and there have been some changes and some breakthroughs in medication and the use of medication and the applying of medication and exploring other interventions that can be used. This is one of them. Exercise and helping people with mental health is a fantastic intervention that is, in my opinion, is not being used effectively enough. You know, so these are things that, again, opening the door and having a conversation and talking to people and sharing what needs to happen, what doesn't need to happen. That's important, very, very, very important, you know. So these are some of the things that, conversations that we need to have, and there's obviously room and scope for healthcare professionals like myself to work with people, you know, and work with the local community and with the local NHS. Now, one of the things that I didn't add when I spoke earlier was that my mum came to the UK from Jamaica in 1968, and she trained as a nurse. And in 1972, she finished her nursing training at Worcester and came to London to work as a nurse. I myself, when I graduated from South Bank, I took a job as a physiotherapy assistant in the NHS at the Royal Free Hospital. So my mum's experiences working as a nurse and then going on to become a specialist mental health nurse, and my experience of working in the NHS gives me a lot of food for thought in terms of some of the things that I can reflect back on and look and say, okay then, before I was working in football, when I was working in the NHS, these are some of the things that I saw and some of the practices and some of the things that make the NHS a really challenging environment in terms of getting results, getting things done, in terms of being effective, in terms of relaying information back to people. One of the things that I find really difficult with the NHS is the streamlining. I wouldn't necessarily say in terms of releasing money, because I get it that the NHS has to be very careful how they release money, because ultimately it's the public money that they get from the government. So Wes Streeting's NHS budget that he allocates is what he gets from the Chancellor. And then that money is the public government money, what they talk about in the House of Parliament. They can't just waste it, or they shouldn't be just wasting it and not accounting for it. So that is something that needs to be spoken about. Yeah. Now, I know that they can't just give money, or they shouldn't be just giving money to people without certain checks and balances and without certain things being put into place. Alright? And I know that's the case. So, I'm not really talking about releasing the money. I'm talking about once the money's been signed off to be released, what they spend it on. And I'm also talking about chain of command and streamlining and communicating with people. The chain of command and the streamlining in the NHS can be more effective. Very much so more effective. And it takes too long to email, message, contact somebody, and then for that person to get back to you, and then for that person to okay a proposal, and then for that proposal to then be put out, and then for that project to be run, and then once you run the project, you can collect the data, and the internet and IT is very good at helping to disseminate the data and the information once you've got it. But the process sometimes with the NHS is too long-winded, and the chains of command and the different loopholes you have to go through to contact to get to someone needs to be streamlined. Yeah. I can't currently talk about some of the things that I'm doing now, but I know that people that I've spoken to and things that I've seen with myself, the streamline process from talking to someone to having the conversation to getting the project up and running, it takes too long. Yeah? So I'm just going to keep riding here. I just want to pick up this. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you can see 6.15 kilometers. Yeah, you should be able to see that. You should be able to see that 6.6 kilometers. So you should be able to see that. So you see the difference when I'm not holding the tripod and trying to run or walk. You see the difference that it makes in terms of me being able to focus, talk, stream online, and also do my activity. It makes a difference. And it's a lot easier and it's a lot less awkward. Okay. And I don't feel that, I feel I can ride for a lot longer. I don't feel frustrated. So 6.55 kilometers, 6.6 kilometers at the moment. So I want to get to, I've done 10.2 and I was short of the distance. So I really want to do, I did say 12 innit? What if I do 11 and a half? I think if I do 11 and a half, pick up the speed. Pick up the speed. And I'm feeling physically pretty much, I'm feeling a little bit more relaxed than I felt yesterday. When I was doing my gym session, and then the day before that I'd done, I had a swim. I'm going to go to the gym and do some gym stuff this week. When I done my gym session yesterday, I felt alright, felt quite strong. If I'm comparing it now to when I've done my run previously, how do I feel? Good question. I feel okay. I remember when I was getting to about an hour on the footage and I'd only covered 5k and I was getting really frustrated. And physically, now I feel the same way I felt, but what I can say is then, when I hit the 5k, my mental state started to really be affected because I felt frustrated that I was trying to hold the camera, I was trying to run, I was trying to talk, I was trying to make sure I had good light, I was trying to make sure people can hear me and hear what I'm saying and do it properly. I was worried about that and cover the distance. So that was very frustrating, you know. I'm picking up the pace now. I'm picking up the pace because I want to cover this distance. 7.4. 7.4. Okay. 7.53. 7.53. 7.55. Yeah, so I'm feeling really frustrated. But now, I'm not feeling too bad at the moment, to be quite honest. I'm not feeling too bad. .6. Pick up the pace. Pick up the pace. Get through the distance. And I'm feeling relatively relaxed. Like I said, physically, today now, I'm feeling pretty much the same as I felt when I ran in the park. Obviously yesterday when I done my gym session, because I like lifting, I felt a lot more physically exhausted then. But now I'm feeling how I felt, which was moderately, reasonably active, but without the added psychological pressure of worrying about the camera and everything. So I've done 8 kilometers now, because I can just concentrate on where I can pick up the pace a bit more. I'll pick it up a bit more. I'm going to get to the 10 kilometer mark pretty soon, and then I'm going to keep riding on and then try and cover it. 10 kilometer mark. Yeah, so we've got a lot of challenges in the community, and I want to talk a little bit more about prostate cancer and kind of focus on prostate cancer a bit more when I do my next, will probably be a cycle. I don't think I'll do another run. Maybe I might do a run on a treadmill. If I can get a treadmill, probably go in the gym and do a treadmill, do a post and a stream there. I probably might do an exercise bike ride as well. But I've definitely got 2 more to do. So I'll do once a week. I'll do one, and that will be able to allow me to cover my distance, you know. 8.55. I'm going to pick up the pace. I'll pick up the pace a bit more. Pick up the pace a bit more. Probably what I'll do again, because I've given a bit of background to myself and spoke about myself a bit more. What I'm going to do is, I'm just going to get into it and then talk as I ride. That's what I'm probably going to do, the next one that I do. And then I might even, I'm contemplating live streaming and posting at the same time. So I'm going to look at that, look into that. How can I do that? Yeah. How can I do both at the same time? .8.9, 8.9, apologies, 8.9, 8.934. 8.9. So I've done 9 kilometers. I'm getting to the 10 kilometer mark pretty soon. And then I need to kind of calculate the distance. Okay. So if I do 11.5 kilometers, if I do 11.5 kilometers, I'm probably going to have enough distance if I do 11.5. So I'll be able to make up the shortfall plus the 6.55. So 9.2, 9.3 kilometers now. Okay. Soon get to the 10 kilometer mark, and then I've got to go to the 11 kilometer mark and do 11.5 kilometers. So that's what I'm going to do at the moment, and working towards that. It's 9.45. 9.5 kilometers. 9.54 kilometers. It's a lot different from when I was actually doing that session in the park previously. And because I'm cycling, I can cycle a lot quicker and I can cover more distance. Seven, eight. I'm coming up to the 10 kilometer mark. Just want to show you guys the 10 kilometer mark. Yeah. show you 10 point, and that's what I've done previously. So I need to add on extra distance to cover the shortfall, to make up for the miscalculation. So I'm making sure that I'm covering, so it's 10.2 at the moment. If I do 11.5, that should bring me over. What if I done 12? Why don't I just do 12? And then I suppose I have to do the same amount the next time. But then I want it even and equal. I want it equal. So that I know. What I'm going to do, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to actually calculate it properly. I'm going to calculate it properly the next time, so that I know exactly the kilometers distance, which is what I should have done before. So that's a lack of professionalism on my part. Yeah? So 6.5, 10.65, 10.67, 10.7. I'll do 11.5, and I'll do the calculation for the next one, and I'll make sure that I calculate it properly, or if I go into the gym, I should be able to get the mile setting for the distance to work it out, how many miles, and then do the calculation properly, so that I know exactly, I'll have the proper calculation. Because I'm doing it in kilometers, and I should really calculate it properly to know exactly how much kilometers. So I'm coming up to the 11 kilometer mark. 11 kilometers, I'm coming up to it. So boom, 11 kilometers and 11.5 kilometers. 6, 7, 8, 11.1, 11.15, 11.09, 11.22, 11.23, 11.27, 11.3. 11.35, 11.39, 11.4, 11.45, so we're coming up to that distance mark now. 11.53, 11.52. I'm going to show you that. So you've got that properly. 11. So I've done 11.57. That's what I've done in terms of distance. I will do the math and do the calculation, and I will figure that out. I'll work that out on myself. Just put that back there. Yeah. So I'll do the calculation. I'll work it out. 11.57. I'll take that, and I'll do that calculation, and I'll work out what that is. I'll do it properly, and I'll make sure that for session 3 and for session 4, I'll do the exact calculation, so I'll make sure that I'm covering the right distance. Yeah. Thanks again, people. For those of you here, please like, share and subscribe. and hope that you're enjoying what I'm doing. I hope that I'm having an impact on people, and I'm hoping I'm having an impact on the community. Thank you very much, and I will be with you again for the next installment of my prostate cancer challenge.